What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you everything in the world of video game news. I'm Drew Bosley. You can find me on Twitter at Artistic Gamer 20. That's the one, the only. It is Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at @Savage. Scotty, happy Tuesday, dude. I almost lost what day it was.
It's the second day of spring. That's how I look at it right now.
There we go. Get rid of that snow. I'm done.
It means my allergies are just wrecking me right now, but that's a good sign.
There you go. Dude, everybody can be joining us live right now over on twitch.tv/the official ITG, as well as YouTube at ITG Reviews. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later inside the game.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. But Scott, before we get started, let's kick it to our friends over at Covenant House with the main mission. It's the ultimate Easter egg, a streaming campaign like no other, a mission with the goal to change lives in real life. I challenge you to join me on the main mission, a charity stream campaign to raise funds for Covenant House. From March 7th to April 1st, we welcome everyone to join this fundraising mission to benefit youth who are homeless, trafficked, or at risk. The campaign will feature prizes, giveaways, and big surprises. And on April 2nd, we join forces with some of the biggest content creators and gamers to raise maximum funds. Help us change the game. Can we count you in? That's right, April 2nd, we'll be live at noon Eastern, streaming for 12 hours, Scott. We've got lots of streaming to do. Lots of friends going to be swinging by. A couple great, fantastic Twitch streamers. So make sure you come by, check it out. And do we have prizes to give away? We have a ton of games. We have other stuff in the works. I'm not exactly sure. I got a couple ideas, but I don't want to allude to them quite yet. I know a couple things that are coming, but
can't talk about it.
Nah, it's one of those things, right? That's right. We'd have to. Never mind. Scott, coming up on today's show, PlayStation brings another studio to the family, adding in Jade Raymond's Haven Studios to the PlayStation Studios lineup. Ubisoft is looking to have a massive showcase event. Dude, I'm looking to get into this discussion for sure. And rumors are already floating around about a PlayStation 5 Pro. Really?
Yeah, I made that joke a month ago, but it was PlayStation 5 Slim. That's what I was.
Well, dude, I wonder if they're gonna change the size of that thing, because it is, like we talked about earlier, right? It is massive. It is so big. Will they shrink that thing down when they go pro, or will they keep it as big as it is? I'm really curious. I know now that we did the PS4 and the PS4 Pro, and you did the Xbox One and then the Xbox One X, you kind of expect these things now to continually happen. We've seen upgrades like the George Foreman grill for PS3. Like, we see all these coming, right? Oh, there's the ITG Parker. He says it's so ugly and big. Dude, it is massive. There's no doubt about it. I kind of like it though. But either way, it's one of those things. But we'll see what happens if they shrink it down, because we've seen iteration after iteration after iteration. Scott, are you really surprised that we're going to get a pro version of the PS5?
No, not very. I'm not sure if I appreciate that kind of half step in the generation, because I had an Xbox One X and then it just decided to stop working one day. So that was a little bit more disappointing, because it was my second Xbox. It was an upgrade, and then it
just died.
Yeah, that's more of a anecdotal thing, I suppose. But there's temptation now to get the next one. Do you get the best one, or do you get just regular old PlayStation 5? They're so rare to come across nowadays anyways.
Well, that's the thing, and we'll get into that when we get to that topic. Scott, let's kick things off, welcoming Haven Studios to the PlayStation Studios family. This is Herman Holst over at the PlayStation blog. Today, I'm delighted to announce that Haven Studios is officially joining PlayStation Studios. Jade Raymond brings a wealth of experience from her industry achievements and infectious passion for creating games, and the leadership team at Haven is an equally impressive group of industry veterans who have collaborated on some of the biggest and most beloved games and franchises that many of us still enjoy today. We began working with Jade and her team in early 2021 when they were in the brink of announcing the formation of Haven Studios. Scott, I think that's the biggest thing right there. We all saw them coming out, and Jade take her steps from EA. Never saw that Star Wars game, which is so disappointing, man. So disappointing. Then from there, go over to Google Stadia, and then from there, Google Stadia shuts down their first party lineup, and then transitions into her own studio and now gets bought up by PlayStation. Like, dude, she's had quite the journey so far, hasn't she?
Yeah, I hope she doesn't update the resume too often because now there's a whole lot of changes that have happened.
Oh
How do you
man.
even log all that too? Like, oh,
No,
and how do you
absolutely.
know what you're doing week to week when everything's changing so often?
Yeah, no, without a doubt, right? So they're thrilled to invest in them and their new IP, which is exciting to hear. Let's get into what Jade Raymond has to say. 1 year ago this month, we embarked on a journey to start Haven Studios with a small team and a big ambition. Our goal was to build a studio where we could make the kind of games we've always wanted to create and the games we've longed to play. We've made amazing progress in a short time thanks to our talented, passionate team and their exceptional contributions. We've established a culture at Haven grounded in kindness, adaptability, and courage that unlocks creativity. Our first new IP for PlayStation is on track to deliver a AAA multiplayer experience with a vision to build a systemic and evolving world focused on freedom, thrill, and playfulness that will keep players entertained and engaged for years. Scott, thoughts
Okay,
on that?
no, a lot of big talk. They're not gonna say nobody's gonna come out and say our new project is small. Don't worry about it. So
Yeah,
there's a bit of that I have to calibrate for. But
sure.
while a AAA multiplayer experience helmed Jade Raymond has a big part in
Oh
that. I'm not
man.
sure what kind of inclusion she has in other multiplayer kind of settings, though.
So let's take a look. Jade Raymond, notably known for creating Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, Splinter Cell, like Far Cry. Dude, the list goes on and on and on. Like, she's been at the helm at some of the most beloved IPs we've ever played. So a long lineup, came from Electric Playground, believe it or not, as a TV host. So Scott, there's
Oh
hope for
wow,
us. Yes, buddy. We might get out of this showbiz and get into making our own
yeah,
games.
I've got a lot of half decent ideas for video games.
I'm gonna make Splinter Caged. That's my game. It's the only way we're getting a Splinter Cell. But either way, dude, it's one of those things. I followed Jade for so long. At this point, I'm just waiting to see what I need. Like, I need a piece of something. What does she got? What is she working on? I want to see what she has ready at the helm for us, because she's been bounced around for so many times. But it's one of those things I just like, crap. Will we see this now that she's in with PlayStation? I think most definitely we'll see it. We already saw the partnership with PlayStation, so to see them actually get purchased by PlayStation isn't that surprising. This brings PlayStation up to, I believe, 18 studios now.
Ooh, that's a lot. Everybody's drawing lines in the sand and kind of dividing into these two larger camps. So I hope
Yeah.
this means the end of this kind of jumping around ownership and whatever, so that they're able to so that Jade can actually put some time into something that we'll see
Well,
that's not a decade old.
well, that's just the thing, right? Everything. Her last title, I think, was in almost a decade ago, because she bounced from one studio that shut her down to another company that shut her department down again. It's just like, man, what are you guys doing? And then we've seen Stadia kind of do their own thing right now, trying to figure out their place in the marketplace itself. And we'll see what happens. But dude, I don't know. Like, I've played so many of Jade's games that I'm pumped to see what she can showcase next.
Now, and Nate brought up a good idea or a good thought here. Is that going to be a live service game? Is that an issue? Is
I
that
would
something
say
to be
so.
excited for, or is that a negative?
Well,
Because in my opinion, it's almost a negative nowadays, if I
well,
hear that.
it says, yeah, keep players entertained and engaged for years. Right?
That does seem, yeah, like a
It does seem like a
live
games of service, live service thing, right? But if you look at Destiny, they're still going. Massive does it really well with the Division and what they're doing there with the Division 2, keeping content
That's
alive. It's hard not to want to do a live service game when you see things like Warzone or Fortnite and they're continually updating. And look at Rockstar, dude. GTA 5. Oh man, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I did
but
that. But I'm having a blast.
most of these
Dude, I'm having
cases
a blast.
they're multiplayer only kind of things, and that as a live service makes much more sense.
Yes, I think
But
that's what we're in for here.
I'm not quite certain if I'm excited for Assassin's Creed live service.
I kind of am. I kind of think I'm ready. I'm ready at this point to keep this going. They're already updating it so much, Corey, and maybe myself will be talking about Dawn of Ragnarok this week coming up on the show. So make sure you look for that. Dude, that's a huge DLC undertaking by Ubisoft. So they can get into the whole realm of opening up Assassin's Creed. They can bring a touch of what they did with Unity into next gen. Man, like, I'm all in. This sounds like it could be really cool. Unity was a blast. We had so much fun grouping up with friends.
DLC is a big deal, and that is well established. That works very well. But when you get into just like, is there going to be a battle pass for Assassin's Creed? Am I going to get some stupid feather cap?
Oh, dude. My favorite thing to do was back in the day playing Brotherhood, and the more you leveled up, you gain experience, the more cosmetic stuff you got to upgrade and unlock and get into other powers. You can, instead of you dropping smoke, you can disguise yourself, or you can do other throwing knives. And man, it was, I miss that multiplayer so much. Here comes Nate again, goes, you can't release games incomplete now or else people won't stick around. That's a very good point. Let's talk about Hood, Outlaws, and Legends for a second, Scott. Game is dead. Right? Look for that. That'll be a deep talk, deep discussion this week coming up on the show as well, because I got a lot of things to say about that game. He also says, I don't have faith, boys. Look at Halo. It's dying and has content promised for the future. It's a good point, Nate, but we also talked about that yesterday, Scott and I, the fact that when Halo launched, we're so used to that being Halo as a complete game. They get Halo out in time to launch the multiplayer. Then after that comes the single player. And then after that, we're still waiting on Forge. We're still waiting on co-op, right? Halo needed to be a complete game, and they weren't done in time. That was the biggest problem there. And I think if they would have had the complete package, Scott, I think we would be looking at talking about Halo in a different context here. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah. No, I think it would have just completely smashed out of the park, similar to how Halo 3 did.
Exactly. Yeah. Dude, let's move into what Ubisoft is up to as they are planning massive game showcase. This comes from Tom Henderson at Xfire. According to several sources with direct knowledge of Ubisoft's plans, we can report that a big game showcase event from the French publisher has been in the works for some time. To avoid game announcements being drowned out by the competition, the event was meant to go ahead before this year's rumored E3. However, recent world events seemingly put these plans on hold. We understand that a total of 20 games are lined up and ready for some form of announcement in the near future, whether at the delayed event or otherwise, from brand new game reveals to development updates, release dates, and trailers. It's worth highlighting that you'll find these details so we're talking about. Dude, here's the biggest thing. Let's get these updates going. Where's Skull and Bones? Let's talk about Beyond Good and Evil 2. Dude, where's Beyond Good and Evil 2? Where is that game?
Now, here, let me hit the list here, because there's a lot of things that are rumored to be announced or going to be shown off there. Number one is Skull and Bones.
Yes!
I would really like to see that one. Secondly, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, which only reminds me there was supposed to be like 8 Avatar movies by now. But The Division Heartland, Immortals Phoenix Rising sequel. I think you had a really good time with that one, didn't you?
Okay, I had a blast with Immortals Phoenix Rising until you got the last DLC.
Oh, the DLC.
Which just, and you know what, that really frustrated a lot of people. It changed up the whole game formula to a top-down perspective. Like, you're going from a third-person game this entire time, 2 DLCs, and then you jump us into the last one, and you give us this thing? What the heck are you guys thinking? It was so weird.
Yeah, I don't know if I understand why that
Nobody understands why, dude.
An Assassin's Creed Rift. I'm not sure if we've heard that yet. That may be the last one before Infinity, is what I'm thinking. Infinity is the very next one.
I think that one is the one featuring Basm. So Basm is from Valhalla, and this is the one that they're going to do as DLC, and then branched out off into its own full title, which is going to focus a lot more on the realm of stealth. Thankfully, for Assassin's Creed. Dude, I want to be able, you can blend in right now with the crowd in some aspects, but it hasn't really, like, it got me out of a fort once, but it wasn't a big deal. I wanted that old school stealth mechanic back. You know what I mean?
I have to really play that more of that game, because I'm still wondering, like, well, is there even crowds? I can't even recall.
Everything pockets.
Was just wooded little water pockets and camps that I was raiding.
Well, these villages are populated, right? There's a lot of people going on. There's a lot of stuff going on in this game, man. It is so deep. I am 50 hours into this game. and it's still like I'm probably not even halfway through the story. Like there's so much going on. Honestly, you're having a great time now.
It's about to roll credits.
Well, my goodness.
The opening credits.
The opening credits.
Title screen.
Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed. No. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I remember Odyssey made me laugh. That was a good one.
Dude, I was like so far in.
Hey.
Yeah. I know. I didn't say that. You set sail on your ship, and all of a sudden, the title screen comes up. I went, really? Oh, we're getting to that now? Okay.
Tutorial complete.
Yeah. What else did you have on that list, Scott?
We have Ghost Recon Frontline.
Yes. Do you remember seeing that one? We watched the event that was at, and that was their spin on a battle royale in first person.
Yeah, no, that's. I have questions, so I hope there's answers coming up with this one.
We all have questions.
They also list X Defiant, which I think we just recently mentioned because they had dropped the Tom Clancy moniker. So that has something interesting and new in it, I hope. There's the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake. Ooh, that's a big one for me.
That's huge.
Then Prince of Persia, an unknown one. The Crew 3. Mario and Rabbids Spark of Hope. Roller Champions. I think I recall something about that years ago.
Man, yeah, that was it came out on PC for a little bit, like a test kind of thing, and then just finished.
Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yes.
Huge amount of questions for that one.
Oh my goodness.
Splinter Cell remake and the Division mobile game. Not sure what that's about.
I don't know. I can't remember anything on that one really. The whole Splinter Cell thing though, Scott, I want to talk about that real quick. Obviously, we've been talking about it for years. Where are we going to get it? When are we going to see it? They just announced it. They just announced that they're making the game and come and join them to help make it. So, dude, we might see a splash screen, right? Like, we're not going to see anything on this game at all. We might see a brief cinematic, if anything at all, like a concept of cinematic of what they're going to have entitled for us.
I will be sending my resume.
That's
I have played all of them, and I like to think I'm pretty good.
Dude, I'm tempted. We got to go back. We should go back. Yeah, we'll talk about this off air. We're gonna make a segment, Scott. Up next, dude. Let's get into PS5 Pro will be significant improvements in performance and specs over the base PS5. Well, that's kind of why you upgrade, right? So this comes from WCCF Tech. According to a new rumor by Red Gaming Tech, the PlayStation 5 Pro iteration of the console will be released by 2024. Okay, so that's 2 years out. That's not so bad. That makes a lot of sense, lining up what they did with last gen. Not only that, it will bring several improvements over the base version of the console when it comes to various technologies, such as its ray tracing capabilities and performance. According to the rumor said by RGT, this new iteration of the PlayStation 5 console will become available by the end of 2023, sometime in 2024. It brings a 2 times performance in a standard raster, 2.5 times in ray tracing over the vanilla version, and will be designed to provide a better experience with PlayStation VR titles.
Okay,
that's pretty cool, dude. I appreciate that because I'm looking for that next gen PlayStation VR 2. So here's I
think they're gonna push the PSVR 2 a little harder. I think if there's hardware that's going to support it better, but it just for me it kind of draws a bunch of questions as to the quality of the PlayStation 5, because did these consoles just come out, what was it, 2 years ago? Well, maybe a year and a half ago.
Here's my thing. It came out 2 years ago. Nobody can still find one. Have they changed the internals on this, Scott, to be able to produce the Pro version at a quicker rate than what we currently have with the PlayStation 5? So if they have... Go ahead.
There's no alternative for semiconductors. So unless they've really made it more efficient with their use of semiconductors, but then that would not really lend to a doubling of power, in my opinion. That seems like it would be a step back.
No, that's fair. Absolutely fair. That's a good point. So I'm curious then, it allows them to double dip, Scott, is what it does, right? It brings in that double dip factor of, okay, you have this version, but do you want the next new shiny that's even faster? Like, here's a point. Well,
Gorilla as much as I laugh about that being like, that's a silly upgrade. Well, I have a Series X, not an S.
Exactly, right? You went for the higher model. So if this comes out, are people going to jump all over it? Absolutely. They're going to get the next PS5 Pro because it's got all the bells and whistles above the next one, or the current one you have, right? Everybody, they talked about, like, Guerrilla themselves, when they put out Horizon Forbidden West, said that load times were so fast that they actually had to slow them down, because when you get the little hints at the bottom, right, it would go so fast you wouldn't have a chance to read them. So they actually had to make it pause, and you hit the X button. Now you can also go in the menus, because after 50 hours you've seen all those, but you can get rid of that, have to hit the X, and when it loads, it just loads. But it's so quick, it's so fast, it's like instant, right? And away you go. Man, I'm telling you, next gen already feels like an upgrade. I can't imagine what the PS5 Pro was going to bring to the table. So I don't know, pretty cool.
Is this a way of extending the life cycle maybe of this current generation? Because
perhaps,
well, if by 2024 we're already four years into the life cycle, how long do they expect this generation to last? Is that going to make the distance, or are we going to get a PlayStation 6 in 2026? Is that just going to keep spiraling?
Yeah, well, we had a long generation with last generation, right? With the PS4 and then the Xbox One, but they also had a mid-cycle upgrade, which then extended that life cycle of that generation console. So they're going to do that here as well. So are we going to be in for 8-10 year life cycle of PS5s, Xbox Series X and S, or whatever they're going to do there with their upgrade? Dude, what would they call the Xbox Series X upgrade? Like, that's a question. The Xbox Double X.
Yeah, you can't go one more, and then it gets a little weird.
Scott, we do have a game announcement today. I want to talk about this too, because I thought this is cool. This looks like a ton of fun.
Yes, Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. This is not something I saw coming, that's for sure.
Looks cool.
A 4v1 hunt or haunt supernaturally charged video game from the asymmetrical multiplayer experts at Ilphonic. It rolls out in the Ecto 1 in Q4 2022 on PC for Epic Game Store, PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One XS.
Yep.
That's
surprisingly
quick, actually, the end of this year. I haven't heard anything about this one yet. Have you?
No, this came in a press release this morning, and I was completely shocked. I had no idea. I saw Greg Miller actually talk about it. He's voicing something in the game, so I thought that was pretty cool. Greg Miller, friend of the show, it's been awesome to see that this is coming out, and it's Ilphonic. So they did Predator, which was, dude, it's such a cool game, right? Like, it was. Oh yeah. We've seen that rise of 5 or 4 versus 1 for a while, and then it completely died off. Like, it just vanished.
Yeah, rest in peace, Evolve.
Whoa, man.
I think there's talk of Evolve 2, but I don't know enough about that to really...
Please bring it back. Please. Yeah. Oh, man. I love that. I jumped
in right at the tail end of that game.
I was right there from day one, dude. I had a blast, and then it just kind of vanished. I was like, really? Like, really? Because I was hooked. Dude, I was so into on that game. Oh, yeah. But, dude, you can join a team of 4 Ghostbusters and cross the streams to trap a ghost terrorizing public locations before the environments get too haunted. Or you can play as the ghost and spook civilians, warp around the map using rifts, and slime those pesky Ghostbusters. Dude, this sounds like a blast. I'm so down for this game. I can't wait. But we also have a couple games that are going to be out today. Scott, before I even get there, will you get Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed?
I am curious, yeah. Especially if we get 1 or 2 of us on the team that grab it, then I'm in for sure.
All right, cool. Well, I'm down. I'll be getting it, so I'll make sure we can.
If I get into that, we got to play some Friday the 13th, though. Maybe that's my deal.
Maybe. All right, we'll see what happens. Scott, we do have a couple of games out today. What do we have?
We have Kraken Academy on the Xbox One, Series X and S, and the Switch, and Rune Factory 5 on Switch.
That seems like a weird title.
Yeah, kind of a light day for releases, but
a little bit.
Hit or miss nowadays.
March has kind of been a hit or miss month. There's been a couple hot ones, a couple quiet ones, but that has been this show for today. It's been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. You can always join us live over on twitch.tv/theofficialITG or over on YouTube at ITG Reviews. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later inside the game.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm Drew. That's Scott. We'll see you inside the game.